Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to a July 3rd edition of Tales from the Film Set as we talk about the blockbusters that came around July 4th. I'm Scott Churchton alongside Mr. Ryan O'Regan. Davion is kind of
With me.
sneaking this in during a lunch break, best as he's going to be able to. As always, basically, we're here. We're going to, gripe about some stuff, chat about some stuff, but mainly we're going to be focusing on America's birth date and the most important part that comes out of it, big old movies that come out of this. Men in Black, Back to the Future, League of Their Own. We're going to be talking about them, and we're going to be rating them, whether they're good, whether they're great, whether they're awesome, or actually possible, whether they suck. So, in the meantime, Ryan, how are you, man?
Oh, just ready for the weekend. Lord knows, here in Jersey, we've been having quite the weather spell.
Yes.
Some days it's sunny, some days we're getting hurricane type weather. So I feel you over in Miami, people. And yeah, hopefully this weekend just does not completely rain out. But if it does, at least we know that movie theaters should be standing for us to go check out what's happening this weekend, which
Correct.
is a little bit of a mixed bag. I mean, compared to what's already out, you're getting the fourth Minions movie of Despicable Me, and then you're also getting Maxine, which is the third
Mhm.
in that Ty West trilogy. Which, gee, I wonder which one I'm gonna go see. Yeah, I'm seeing Maxine. So
But But yeah, we're going to basically do this on a little bit on the fly right now. Go through some of the movies that came out. Get Ryan's thoughts, especially on them, since he is far more versed and far more educated in this department than I am. I remember them, but you know what? He can break it down in nuance that actually I don't have the skill set for. So, any
I
whoosies,
can.
what's that?
All right, if you think I can, sure.
Sure, why
Do my
not?
best.
Okay, so we're going to be taking some of these in order here. Let me just close this down just a tiny bit, zoom that out a little bit. In this case, we've got S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, or D tier. Now, the movies that I've got here, honestly, real talk, a lot of them are going to be A and S's. A lot of A and S's in this one here. You got Terminator 2. It's going to be hard to fight something like that. But we're going to do what we can to be a little more critical, maybe with some of these, talk about some of them in this case, and get feels. The first one we're going to be talking about right now, going forward in this case, is we're going to be starting out with South Park. The South Park movie
Yeah.
was released 25 years ago, amazingly enough, which really hurts my soul. Personally, I remember seeing the South Park movie in Times Square, which was amazing because basically the curtains were drawn. It was a giant cinematic experience. And then you got the characters of South Park. So, Ryan, I'm going to start with you on this one. South Park movie. Pros, cons, anything in the middle? What you got, sir?
I mean, you're talking about a franchise that has lasted longer than I think anybody has ever expected. And that's just because of the way Trey Parker and Matt Stone are able to roll out their stories so quickly. God bless them for finding a way to do satire, whether it be current events, pop culture, political, in such a quick way. But obviously, I think a lot of people look at South Park the movie now and probably consider it tame by certain
Mm.
standards. But back then, oh man, I mean, the musical aspect of it, I think, was very surprising. I do believe that when you had something kind of like Uncle Effer or
Yeah.
you know, what would Brian Boitano do? It's like there are just some earworms that like will stick with you forever. In fact, this is an Oscar-nominated movie because
Yes.
of Blame Canada.
Yes.
So I mean, how many animated movies that come out in the 4th of July times can you really say that about? Now, obviously, there's lots of Disney movies and stuff like that, but for South Park being the independent that it is, and for being able to garner as much attention, even to this day, that you actually have the theaters, whether it be fandom events or whatever, doing a 25th anniversary sing along
Yes.
just this past weekend or so for this movie, it's like, how can you hate it? Although I will say, because of the subject matter and because of the humor, and again, it is dated because of that. Um, I would probably put this at a B, just for safety's sake,
At a B level.
because
Okay.
obviously South Park is just not everyone's cup of tea in general.
It kind of isn't. I mean, in this case, I think it's funny because you mentioned how it's tame, and you know what? It kind of is. At the time, it had set the record for the most F bombs in a movie ever. And
Yeah,
it's funny because I remember looking at it and thinking, this is so amazingly South Park, but also at the same time, we also figured it was a cash grab, and so did they. They figured, you know what, let's jump on this. We got a chance to make a movie. Let's do it while we got it. Let's roll with it. And then obviously this movie, like you said, was nominated for an Oscar for Best Song, which, by the way, was performed at the Academy Awards by Robin Williams himself. And
Right.
with the song Brian, what would Brian Boitano do, has been played by Brian Boitano in skating routines to talk about the unbridled, lasting impact of it. It is still an absolutely quotable movie. Ironically enough, it is still a very applicable movie to today. You know, with some of the commentary in there, social commentary about parents, you know, school responsibility, and everything else.
Censorship.
Censorship was a big part of it. You know, basically, sex and violence are okay as long as there's no naughty words in it. And it's like that kind of applies. So you went with a B on that. I'm going to give it an A. What are you going to roll with here?
Again, I think
I'll give it. Oh, good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would want to stick with B only because when I think about what could be A and S tier, you can draw the comparison. You know,
Sure.
I think B, at least in this case, is a nice middle of the level movie. It's not the best movie that's ever come out on 4th of July, but it's also really not the worst, and is definitely more impactful and significant than probably people give it credit for.
You know, we're going to have some S tier movies on this. That is just an absolute given right now. You know, I mean, like I said, Terminator 2 is on this list, so let's just go that way, right? I mean, we need to. But before we get to that, we do have to go with another one in this case, Ron Howard's and Tom Hanks's Apollo 13. This, surprisingly enough, was actually also a July 4th movie. It's faded into somewhat obscurity, I think, at this point. You know, it was big in the time. Houston, we have a problem was a huge thing in the moment. But I think for the most part, it really doesn't have a lot of staying power.
Right. I mean, this was during like that Tom Hanks renaissance where it's like any movie he did was just gold, regardless of if it had any comedy aspects or if it was a drama or anything like that. And mind you, it's a stellar cast. Ed Harris, Gary Sinise, Kevin Bacon, all great guys.
Ron Howard directing, of course, yeah.
Ron Howard directing, yeah. And I'd say this is definitely one of Ron Howard's more notable movies. But yeah, outside of the whole tagline of Houston, we have a problem, which got memed to death in many aspects.
It still is to this day.
Yeah, like I can't really say that there's anything about the movie that stands out. Like, obviously, there were problems. They fixed the problems. They came back. That's what happens when you do a movie based on a real event. You have to build up the tension and the drama, but obviously, everything's fixable. Otherwise, it would be a different kind of movie. So I think just because of the spectacle of it, it was a decent film. But as far as staying power and significance, I would have to put it at a C.
You know what? I have to probably agree with you on this. Like I said, it's one of those things that, when you look at the legacy of Ron Howard, amazingly enough, this one doesn't really apply that much. Again, you talked about the star-studded cast of this. Obviously Tom Hanks, whatever he does is gold. You had Kevin Bacon. You had Gary Sinise in a role that, in this case, was not the villain, which a lot of times for a lot of the films he had done, he kind of was. But in this case, again, it was sort of a forgotten film amongst all of it. I think, frankly, when it comes to Ron Howard, I think he's more well known for Arrested Development than he is Apollo 13.
Which is funny enough because they make reference to Apollo 13 in Arrested Development, especially with the Netflix seasons, because they have that one scene where they go into like the little Apollo 11 pod.
Yep.
And it's like
they really took it deep on that one after a while.
Yeah, if you didn't know his movie filmography, you would have been like, okay, they're at a space station, an aerospace museum. I don't know what this is.
Yeah. Well, see, that was one of the things I wasn't crazy about with Arrested Development. I always liked Ron Howard as the narrator, but when he became a character, it seemed to lose a little bit.
Yeah, it was a little too meta, especially when he was putting his daughter in things too. So it's like,
although you know what, I did like the family reunion when he had Bryce and all the other obscure ones that you kind of forgot about.
Yeah, but I mean, this isn't Mayberry, unless he's going to get Don Knotts.
There were some messages to Mayberry and Opie in that too, but
yeah. This isn't Grand Theft Auto. This isn't American Graffiti. His acting days are done. Sorry, Ron.
All right, so you know what? I got to go with C on this. By the way, I duplicated a couple times down below. I apologize for that, but we'll fix it as we go. Um, all right, so that one we've already locked down. That's pretty much a basic on there. Um, the next one on the list that we've got is going to be, of course, the movie that really made Will Smith's career explode. He had obviously, basically at that point, he was still kind of Fresh Prince. He had a couple of things under his belt, but this was the movie that really, I think, launched his career. It wasn't even Bad Boys. I think it was this. No, he did not say the line "Welcome to Earth," but it's dumb fun, dumb patriotic fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you're gonna have a movie on the 4th of July, and you're gonna have it be somewhat war-oriented, fighting aliens, and then you call it Independence Day,
Yes.
it's like there really aren't many other movies that quantify being watched at a certain time of the year. This has to be an X. Like you
Yeah.
can't, like even if you say that some of the special effects are dated, or like the alien and their body suits or whatever look a little cheesy or whatnot in comparison. And say what you will about the sequel. We're not talking about the sequel. This has nothing to do with the sequel.
I was okay
This
with having
is
a third
just
movie.
No, God, no.
Dude, listen, here's the thing. Yes, Independence Day 2 was not a good movie, but I was curious to see where they're going to go with it. That's the only reason why.
Oh, what? We're taking the war to them? No, no.
Yeah,
The
or
minute
the
they ended up,
spheres and everything. I was willing to give it a shot just because there was enough intrigue on my side to see, okay, where's the story going to go from here? Was it a good movie? No. Was this a good movie? Honestly, kind of not.
it was a generically scripted movie.
Mhm.
It's your classic aliens attack sort of thing, but it is just so iconically American. From the alien laser that goes ahead and blows up the White House to the actual dogfight that happens with all the real irregular planes, not the BS alien oriented ones where they're
Mhm.
flying in space in the second movie. I think that's a real issue that I have with Resurgence. The fact that you went ahead and you took this Americana, you took this national pride and patriotism, and you kind of just went ahead and forgot all that for a atypical space shooter.
Yeah.
You made it so sci-fi that it became less American. And the first movie with everything down from like, you know, um, the aliens coming down with like the dog fighting and the
Mhm.
shooting, that's like on par with anything you probably would get with Top Gun. The explosions and seeing people get out of the way, that the dog jumping out of the way
Yes.
of the explosion as it's coming through the
Boomer will
tunnel,
live. Ah!
like, and just Bill Pullman's speech.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, it has to be S. Like, look, if you're gonna
Really?
watch a movie during the day where we as Americans are celebrating our independence from a tyrannical nation, which, say what you will about what's going to happen in November, this is the movie to watch. This is the one that will make you feel good about being an American. This
Mhm.
is what being an American and being great again is all about. This movie right here.
So you're going S tier with this, huh?
Yeah, damn right I am.
All right, all right. I respect it. I respect that. The movie, by the way, also one thing worth mentioning, it has been also referred to as the stereotype movie because you got the stereotypical inbred country guy, the stereotypical suave black guy, the stereotypical Jew. You Judd Hirsch. He sits there and talks like this. What are you schmuck? But the Shamil, Oigavalt. Mashugada.
To be fair,
Have
that's
have
been
I
Judd
mentioned I'm
Hirsch's
Jewish?
career. That's been Judd Hirsch's career. That's what even back when he was on Taxi, he was doing that.
But he okay, here's the thing. Speaking as someone who has Jewish lineage, he was not that Jewish in Taxi. He was Jewish,
No,
but he wasn't Jewish. Here it's like, oh, you Gavalt and the Shemugad and the Shamil and the, it's like,
to be fair, we're talking about an old Jewish man who was in New York City. I mean, you tell me that they were wrong to have him act the way he acted.
dude, I'm in Greenpoint with the Hasids. For starters, basically they never speak to you at all. But they're not even there. I don't think even they're not even that Jewish. I was in Brooklyn this morning. I don't think even they were that Jewish. But it was one of those things. Like I said, the idea was that the fact that it was the stereotype, the movie. But here's the thing. At the same time, it's also, like you said, dumb fun, and it's that the Bill Pullman speech is one of the greatest movie speeches of all time. July 4th will no longer be known as an independent, American holiday, but the day we clear it in one voice. We will not go quietly into the night. We will not, vanish without a fight. We will live on. We will survive. Today will be our Independence Day. Off the top of my head, by the way, I'm proud of myself there. But
but not bad, not bad. Imagine how many actors have gone ahead and used that as like an introductory monologue.
Yeah, probably. It's funny when he had a TV show on, I think it was TBS or FX years ago, and I remember watching him a few times, interacting a couple of times, and I'm looking at it and it's like, that's the president from Independence Day right there. That's Lone Star. That's Lone Star. But okay, so you want to give it an S, huh?
Yes.
I was going to give it a B. How about we meet in the middle and go A?
Oh.
I'm going to throw it with an S and see what we can do.
How about this? How about we make the compromise of, let's put it in S for now.
Okay.
And then the next time we have a movie that is going to go S, if it is better than Independence Day, then we can drop it to an A.
Okay. I think I can convince you of that one, actually.
All right.
Because next up on the list, oh boy. Let's see. Where did I put you?
Now, mind you, folks, I can't see the screen as well because I don't have my glasses on. But okay, yeah, I know that's Terminator.
Arguably easily one of the most successful sequels of all time. Terminator 1 was more of a noir thriller. This was just balls to the wall action with special effects that even now, to this day, 33 years later, still hold up. The T-1000 graphically still applies and still works today. And it's funny because now movies come out and they're compared to James Cameron's movie from 1991. I mean, there's two choices here: S tier or wrong.
Look, I'm not going to deny T2 is a good movie. I mean, obviously, when you think about Arnold Schwarzenegger, if you don't think Conan, you think the Terminator, the T-1000.
I think honestly, you think Terminator first, because he's done what, 5 of those movies at this point.
Well, that becomes part of the issue, the diminishing returns of it, where it's almost like, do I want to remember him as a Terminator? This is, if you think of him as a Terminator, you think of him in this movie, maybe the first one secondary. And arguably, yeah, I mean, it made Arnold a household name. It made Linda Hamilton look like a badass. I don't know if it really helped Edward Furlong much. I mean, this was his biggest movie, I would say, outside of anything else he's done in his career.
Yeah, Detroit Rock.
Forest Hills that we know our Jersey people are making and putting out.
That's correct. Yes.
But here's the thing: it's a great action movie. Mm-hmm. It absolutely is. Do I think it's the best 4th of July blockbuster? No.
Okay.
And simply because if you are going to go ahead and watch a movie at this particular time of year, there should be certain things that are significant. Now, the action, sure, it works. Don't know what it says about America, knowing that we keep finding ways of having Skynet wipe us out. The fact that it is going ahead and taking the original plot from the first movie with the uprising of the machine, and it's saying, oh yeah, what we thought was going to fix it didn't fix it, got worse, and there has been a progressive storyline throughout the entire franchise. They did it the best, but they also started a bit of a trend with these movies where it just kept getting more and more ridiculous as we went along, because apparently you just can't fight the future. So there
Whether
are
it's
some
Skynet, whether
disturbing
it's
aspects.
Skynet or not.
Yeah, and the fact that it all happened because they were able to get their hands on the stupid robot arm from last time. Like,
Well, that fits though.
it fits, but at some point you're like, how are we gleaming things that quickly? I mean, look, technology is fast now. There's no way anyone's taking a robot arm and creating artificial intelligence off of it.
Well, they say
And
that modern
say what you will about Joy Morton.
Supposedly, they say technology is 20 years ahead of what we currently have now.
Yeah.
So think about it from that perspective. So right now, what we live in right now, what they have is 2044 versus what we are now.
That's
scary a little bit too.
It is a little bit.
Yeah. But and I'm looking at it as a movie itself and not the 78 sequels that came after it. You know.
No, but I am also looking at it as an action movie, but it's not necessarily an action movie. I think that would play for 4th of July because as far as patriotism, as far as Americana, like you get with Independence Day, this is kind of more, hey, mom's a bit of a psycho. Boy has no friends except for a giant robot who can't communicate well.
And
constantly being chased by the cops. Now, some people may relate to the whole being chased by the cops constantly, but I see it more as an A than as an S in this respect.
So you're looking at it purely from this is July 4th. You're saying the July 4th thing is just a coincidence.
Right. And obviously, I'd say when you look at things with July 4th movies, you are going to get things that are a lot more spectacle. You are going to get things that are probably going to be more action heavy than, say, comedy like you got with South Park. And even South Park had a war going on inside of it.
Yes.
So, I mean, I just think that as far as plot and as far as the driving force of what the story is being told, it's not enough to make me want to watch it this week.
All right. You know what? I can kind of see where you're coming from there. It hurts my soul a little bit, but I'm not against making it an A here. Although like I said, it bothers me a little bit from that perspective. So there we go. I see it. Like
I think that's a good driving line right here. What we have, and as far as like having a nice medium and then seeing where everything goes. It's going to be interesting to see what hits D.
I don't know if anything will, to be honest with you.
I don't know. We'll see. Again, I can't see all the movies that you have up on there.
A lot of them are really kind of classics. You might be able to get away with a couple of them, but arguably the best, the initially for a while, the best Spider-Man movie that had come out, with the exception of No Way Home. Spider-Man 2.
Man.
The one with Hal Sparks in it.
Yes.
Yes.
Match Games classic Hal Sparks.
Yes. Hal Sparks and that guy from Indiana Jones.
Which one from Indiana Jones?
Alfred Molina. The first person to die in Indiana Jones.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. You're right. Yep.
From the idol. Here's the thing. This movie, to me, from a patriotic standpoint, wasn't as strong as the first movie was. First movie was not released in the July 4th weekend, so I can't count it. It was May 30th. But 2002, everybody was all about patriotism. I mean, the trailers themselves, you had like Spider-Man like on the rooftop with an American flag. It was like all sorts of America.
Oh, that first trailer where he actually catches the helicopter by making a web between the two towers.
Yes. I mean, that was.
And obviously, they don't show that trailer anymore.
They do not. It's available on YouTube, though. You can find it. But we were all sorts of built on Americana because we were still not even a year away from September 11th at that point. We were probably about 10 months. Mm-hmm. So at this point now, we've got, about almost 3 years since September 11th. It is Spider-Man 2. The first one was honestly enjoyable and surprised a lot of people. People were like, oh, it actually didn't suck. This one actually raised the level a little bit. Even if it did have Tobey Maguire looking like he had to take a massive shit while trying to stop a subway, but
if you had to try to stop a subway, I'm sure you would look like it too. And you'd
No, I
probably
would not
take a
because I'd
nice
be
shit
dead. I'd
afterwards.
be no, I would not be. I would not be. Looking like I didn't take a shit. I would basically have shit because it would have killed me, and then I would have lost all my bowel. No, that's really what would have happened.
At
But
least not spontaneous combustion.
Spider-Man 2. I remember seeing it in theaters. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't July 4th good. Based on the mentality or the rationale you've got.
See, I do remember seeing this on July 4th weekend. I remember seeing it over at the old Rialto that they had in Westfield, which is closed now, unfortunately. They don't show anything really there. But I remember going there. I remember being there with a couple of friends, waiting online. The line stretched all the way out the theater, down the street, across the windmill, hot dog place that was there at the time. And it was just packed, man.
Yeah.
Like, it was ridiculously packed. And that was back in the regular theater, not like the giant AMCs that you have nowadays. Now, yes, there is definitely probably a little bit more patriotism in this movie than, say, some of the others. And I think that was probably more reshoots in order to back that up and really make that happen. But again, it's hard to say, especially considering you're talking about a movie that takes place in New York after 9/11. And ultimately, even with the storyline of itself, I mean, it's nothing new with the whole Peter Parker, Mary Jane love interest sort of thing, but Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, possibly the only other villain as iconic as Green Goblin. And the fact that this was really like the first time in comic book movies that you had a villain that you sympathized with. And I think that's why he was like one of the templates for what makes such a great villain in these kinds of movies. Thus his ultimate pseudo redemption whenever it came to home, No Way Home, when they brought all those Spider villains back. This definitely is. I would say this is closer to S than T2 is. So I would leave it up to you. Personally, I would say it could either be A or S.
I have to go A on this one. I think, because again, it doesn't really it doesn't tie into the whole July 4th motif like the first movie did. Again, the first movie was so over the top.
You would argue it is more than T2, though.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, like I said, from that rationale, I mean, I would give me as a movie T2 over Spider-Man 2. As a pure movie goes, I mean, if both of them are on TV, I'm going to take T2 every time.
My take. I'd probably be more inclined to Spider-Man 2, really, honestly.
Yeah. But you know what it is also? I think part of this, and this may sound weird coming from me, your female lead is much more badass in Terminator 2. In 1991, pretty much a lot of women out there wanted to be Sarah Connor because she's sitting there doing the pull-ups. She's badass and all that. I mean, the only thing that really Kirsten Dunst did in all three of those movies was scream. Date someone else, go back to Peter, scream. That was pretty much her entire role all the way through all of your movies.
Yes, but that's also who Mary Jane Watson is. So, you're going to make her fight Doc Ock? I don't think
What they did later, I mean, obviously was in Diet as a great example. They made her a little more independent. Gwen Stacy, too. They made him a little more independent as opposed to just Princess Peach has to be rescued again. You know what? Actually, I'm going to flip this way so I get the logo out of there. So yeah, I think, like I said, all she was every single movie, she gets captured or kidnapped or in danger. She has to scream. I mean, give Kirsten Dunst credit. Her lungs must have gone through an absolute rigmarole on that.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, as far as what she had to do for the role obviously wasn't as developed as, say, the character is in the comics, but what they needed her to be, you can't say she did wrong.
MJ was better in the animated series.
Yes, but that's also because that was more heavily connected to the comics.
Even when you had the twist later on, but all right.
So I'm willing to agree. Oh, sorry.
Oh, Jay.
And I told, hey guys.
Hey.
How you doing, guys? By the way, I do agree because that interpretation of MJ was not the greatest, and I understood she had to do was deliver what she could, but still, it wasn't the greatest.
All right, so here's what we need you to do, Day. Since you're here, we have two disagreements that we need to work on right now. Actually, kind of three. So we're going to start with Spider-Man 2. He's willing to go S tier level with Spider-Man 2. I am willing to go basically A tier with this one. So I need you to be the tiebreaker on that, Terminator 2, and also Independence Day.
Okay, Terminator 2 is an S, bro.
Thank you.
Oh, come on.
The man
Terminator
has spoken.
2. Terminator 2 is an S. You know how many times that film been watched?
Now, in this case, to be fair, part of Ryan's rationale with this is the fact that it's not really a patriotic movie like Independence Day was, or Spider-Man 1, or even like you can say Apollo 13 had some degree of patriotism to it. So, oh fuck.
What? Hey. At least Robert is not
Rob, you're out of my will.
Lower. Kyle, if you're still in the chat.
Yes, Kyle, please.
All right, so what's the other films?
2 A's and we have 2 S's right here.
Yes.
Okay, we also have to deal with Independence Day and also, like I said, Spider-Man 2.
Okay. Independence Day because of nostalgia and the fact that it's Independence Day and it came out at Independence Day, S tier.
Yeah, all right, you want to go S tier on that? Okay. And then basically, Spider-Man 2.
Wait, who was the villain too? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while.
And by the way, Rob, you're not actually in the will on that. But it's like you disagreed with me. You hurt me. You broke my heart.
Wait, who was the villain in Spider-Man 2?
Doc Ock.
That was Doc Ock.
Alfred
Molina.
I would say, A. It's borderline A and S, so I would let it stay at A.
All right, so
I would let it stay at A.
All right, so he's going to say A on that because it's 2-1 on that one. Terminator is a split, basically 2 A's, 2 S's. I'm going to leave it at that one. Okay, Kyle, we need you to answer this one. Maybe you can tiebreak this. Terminator 2. I say S. Ryan says A because it's not patriotic enough. It's not July 4th enough, which I see his point. A tier, S tier. What are we going with?
Well, while we wait for him to go ahead and answer,
I'll move on to the next guy.
Hey, do you have any thoughts on Apollo 13 or Apollo 11? I forget which number it is.
13.
Or South Park?
All right. South Park was a classic. Oh my god. Because I'm a huge South Park fan. Yeah, you fan? Sorry. I would say A tier.
For South Park?
So you'd actually take it that high. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going high with that. That's A tier.
Ryan and I both had B tier on this, so right now it's 2 B's and an A. I mean, listen, right. South Park. Give me South Park. Of course, well, that doesn't surprise me there too. Rob Banning does not approve of South Park.
Man, tell Rob that his vote don't count.
I believe he could hear you there.
Okay, but now according to Kyle is, I guess, saying that it's S tier, but again, it's not an Independence Day movie.
Yeah, which I see your point with that, but I think honestly T2 trumps that because I mean I think if here's the thing, if like Sundance TV has an Arnold marathon on July 4th, T2 is going to be in that list, or basically if they're going to have like a July 4th, blockbuster marathon, T2 could easily be in that conversation.
So that's why I said T2 is pretty much S tier. You can't knock that out or knock that down.
We had 3 S's and 2 A's.
All right, Ryan, but it has to go behind Independence Day. Independence Day is still the best.
There, see that as you can see there, right?
All right.
So you consider it like an SA, if you will, or S1 or S2, I guess you
say. Or like an S minus.
Okay.
Like
what was the S minus?
1 and 1A. You've got like an S and an S1. So what's that?
Yeah.
What was the S minus? What y'all calling S minus?
We're calling T2 S minus because it's not patriotic enough, but it's badass in its own right.
All right, I'll let that slide for now.
He's like, I will allow it.
For
I
now.
got 1,000 thanks, oh Sahib. Oh, wonderful. All right. Next movie. All right. Come on.
Marty, let's go Back to the Future.
Automatic S tier.
Okay, this is where I'm going to get interested with this. I mean, obviously, everybody knows that Eric Stoltz was the original Marty McFly.
Yes.
Melora Hardin was the original Jennifer because she got fired because, as a byproduct when Stoltz got fired because she was actually too tall for Marty McFly. And some of the other people that were up for the Doc Brown role included, I think Stallone was in there, John Lithgow, who I think really could have done a really good job with that, and a bunch of others as well.
Oh yeah, no. If you take John Lithgow and take his like third round from the Sun performance and put that in like a Doc Brown sort of thing, absolutely.
But we're going to take it. We're going to basically go back to this in a second. But both Christopher Lloyd and John Lithgow were in Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. And
True.
you got to see what his Doc Brown would have been as John Big Booty. You got to kind of see both. Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension was such a great movie. I was aching for a sequel, but never got it.
Oh, it helped the sci-fi genre along for sure.
It did.
Especially in the 80s.
Eric Stoltz, the original Marty McFly. Supposedly, he says that his hand shows up in the scene where it punches Biff in the diner. I think Tom Wilson says. I think it was his fist, but if they prove it that way, they got to pay him residual. So no. Interesting little fun fact. I'm going to throw this out there. The original sequel to Back to the Future was going to actually take place in 1968 in San Francisco, the night Marty was conceived. So he had to basically not get his parents to kiss at the dance. He had to get his parents to the hotel to plow.
I mean, that somewhat seems in line with the Zemeckis, but I'm glad they didn't.
I'm kind of glad they didn't because that gets really weird. I mean, it's a little weird to get your parents to kiss and everything like that, but then it's like, okay, you're taking this. Yeah, we talk about Ron Howard and Arrested Development. You're taking that incest thing to a brand new level.
Hooah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Back to the Future.
You're
Marty,
gonna hate me for this.
Marty, you better give me a right answer, Marty.
Look, as classic as the movie is, it's a B for me.
Okay, I'm not going to fight you on that one. So
yeah, because I do believe that the sequels are better movies from the original,
and the comics are fantastic.
Yeah. Now, from a patriotic standpoint,
the
Syrians kind of get their way, so that's not necessarily a good look on America. Although the whole 1950s aesthetic, that is very wholesome, old world kind of Americana as far as America is concerned. Having to be able to walk through that. It's kind of like when you walk down Main Street, USA, when you go to Disney World. It's like that same kind of feel of like
simpler time
you're
feel,
really walking through time. You're walking through classic America. However, and I have said this on other podcasts and other shows here on the internet, so you can find it. Marty McFly is without a doubt one of the worst protagonists I have ever seen in a film.
Okay. By the way, Rob, we'll get to your question in a second, I promise. I just want to hear this one.
No, because as far as being the hero of the movie, he's awful. He's pretty much more of a detriment to the story than anything else. He is his own worst enemy. He is the one who becomes the complication within the marriage between his father and his mother. He is the one who goes ahead and, as you even see in later movies, becomes a problem for the future because of his antics. He really doesn't learn much of a lesson, and he's able to escape by because of Doc. If it wasn't Doc is the real hero of this movie, Marty's just like Marty is Morty.
We're not talking Claudia Wells in that replacement. I'm talking Melora Hardin was the original Jennifer. Melora Hardin, best known for The Office and also for Monk. But
so yeah, I mean.
Okay, can I point something out? You brought up an interesting point, but I want to mention something when it comes to Back to the Future too. In the whole thing is they stop the arrest and save Marty's kids and all this kind of stuff, but it undoes a future where You have flying cars for $30,000, which is basically the equivalent of a car now. You have cold fusion. The legal system basically is overnight because they abolished all lawyers. You have self-cleaning clothing or self-drying clothing. And it's kind of like, you know what, Marty? Send your kids back to jail. That's a really good future when you think about it.
Kind of got a point.
And this is why they created Rick and Morty.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. In this case, Marty, sorry, you're out of luck. And Marty and all the roles that you play. You played more Marty McFlys than like Eddie Murphy did Clumps. Dude, how many McFlys did he play in that trilogy?
Now that's funny.
Thank you.
Well, let's see. Obviously, he played.
This is why the afternoon is better because I'm still in my like verbal prime.
He played himself. He played his son. He played his Wild West ancestor.
He played his daughter.
He played his daughter.
Yeah.
He played his older self.
Yes.
What was their grandparents? I thought there might have been grandparents.
No, because the grandparents were done by Elizabeth Shue and Jeffrey.
No. I obviously, the grandparents would be the same parents from the 1980s time, but I mean, like, more in the Wild West era. Wasn't there a picture of like him with the old man with his father, and his father also looked like
I don't
Marty?
remember if he played the original, the first McFly born.
Yeah, he played his original ancestor. I'm just not sure if he also played his original ancestor's father in a.
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, Michael J. Fox did play older Marty in the video game, the AJ Locascio one. So
yes, he did.
Yeah, and I have that video game. So
don't get me started. Do you know how many people when 2015 came around was like, "Where's my hoverboard? Where's my shoes? Where's my hydrated pizza?"
No,
the best we got was the sneakers.
My problem that I had was everybody basically had the date changed on the flux capacitor. It's like, this is the day that Marty McFly went into the future. It's like, dude, it says 2011. Shut up. Everybody's like, wow, cool. It's like, no, dude, it is not. It is incorrect.
But yeah, again, as good as the movie is from a nostalgia point of view, and even though it does have some American nostalgia in it, when I can't stand one half of the leading duo, you got to knock it down a few bits.
His instinct to save his father was wholesome, though. I mean, he meant well. Yeah, the chaos that ensued after that, and So what are you saying on this? You're saying what, a B or C?
Definitely a B. Nothing else.
I can go B on that. Day?
Between that, I'm gonna say A. Just raise it up a little bit.
I don't know.
Just because of nostalgia.
Because I was like, yeah, we got 2 A's and 2 B's.
I'm telling you, Rob don't count.
Well, in that case,
Rob doesn't.
If Rob doesn't count, that means he doesn't agree with you, which means it becomes a B.
I know.
Yeah, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot there, Dave.
So you agree with Rob, right?
No, I don't.
Oh, wow. Okay, B it is.
Wait, what did Rob say?
He said it's an A. He agreed with you, sir.
Oh, wow.
He's like, I do count.
One more chance. Do you change your answer?
Do you agree with Rob Manning?
Yes, I do. Sadly.
All right. You know what? Here's the thing. I'm going to say A2 because it is a classic. You may not like the protagonist, but it is a classic. I mean, it is interesting to find out what would have been if Eric Stoltz had stayed in. I don't think it would have been the classic that it was. And Tom Wilson, I know very much has very pointed things to say about Eric Stoltz's performance there. He's like, I'm Marty on set. It's like, okay, Marty, you hit me one more time, I'm hitting back.
Marty, I'm telling you one more time.
So, all right, moving on. This movie does have patriotism to it. I think we can agree with that. Yes, Rob, you do have rights, But in this case, yes, I did. By the way, Rob, move it to A because you and Day had it, and you kind of convinced me a little bit, just because it's a classic. Marty McFly might be a douchebag, and he may have a terrible last name, but it's still a classic. So,
Yeah, but now you're comparing it to Men in Black, which I would say Men in Black is right there with Spider-Man 2.
I think,
Again,
yeah, and the classic, yeah. And also, like I said,
yeah.
coming on the heels a year prior of Independence Day for Will Smith, even if it was supposed to be David Schwimmer, who was supposed to be Agent J,
Oh, I can't see that. No, no.
it was original. David Schwimmer was going to be your J, which would have vastly
Yeah.
changed the dynamic of this and made it a lot more quirky.
Yeah, no, I could just see him in the car when it's transforming and it's going through the tunnel. It's like, pivot, pivot. No, we're not doing that. No, it's right up there with Spider-Man 2. It really is. I mean, it definitely started its own little franchise. Again, there is even more so than a patriotic feel. There's like a universal Earthling appeal. It's basically as if you know, we kind of come together as one to regulate aliens, which take that as a euphemism for our own political issues with illegal aliens, as it were. But
or
at
jury
least MIB does it in a way where it feels righteous and accountable. It's like the MIB feels like the organization we need in America because I don't really see too many flaws with it.
Listen, with what we have going on with the tall whites right now, outside of Neptune, we already have Men in Black, so we're fine. That's the tall whites have been running this planet for thousands of years. So, just look. By the way, look that up. You'll be interested to find out and learn more about that one.
At least it's not lizard.
What's that?
I say at least it's not lizard men.
No, we have those guys. Actually, the lizard men I think are the slaves of the tall whites. Believe it or not. So, but yeah, you know what?
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised.
But okay, Men in Black.
No, this would definitely be an A. I don't know if it's on the same level as Independence Day in that respect, but I certainly think it's closer than most. Certainly closer than Back to the Future would be.
Yeah.
But I will agree with Ryan. I would definitely say A because of the fact that, you can't go wrong with that classic, and then also the soundtrack. The soundtrack was fire.
The soundtrack was a ripoff.
The soundtrack had one song.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: the Men in Black song was actually a Patrice Ruin song called "Forget Me Nots."
Yes.
So
and the beats came from Earth, Wind, and Fire. So
yeah, but I mean,
because that was Will Smith's at the time when he was trying to recoup his music career. He was sampling more than P. Diddy, Daddy, Puffy.
And at that point,
he did it first. Will Smith did it better.
As a rapper, also, he was no longer DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. He was Will Smith. And to be fair, this is the movie that did that.
And even then, I think most people cared more about the music video than the song.
Here come the Men in Black.
Yeah, with the dancing alien and everything,
yeah.
and they actually made a signature dance to it, as goofy as it looks now.
My mom watched that movie. I love them. I love the music video. Sorry, I didn't mean to flip over to this immediately. My bad. But there's your next move. Here.
Well, hold on. So did we agree with Men in Black?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think A is a safe bet.
Okay.
I mean, again, no Schwimmer. So. Okay.
So Coming to America came out in 4th of July weekend?
Yes, it did, actually.
Wow.
Let me get the exact date on that.
I'm surprised by that because it has such a winter feel. I figured it was more of like a Christmas movie. Maybe Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well, it came out June. Here's the thing. It came out June. You can make the argument either way. It's within a week.
Okay, I want to interject in this, guys. I got him.
Go ahead.
Yes.
She is the queen to be.
Oh, you're not even doing it right. All right.
I know because I'm at work.
My wife go ahead and
right. I'm at work. That's why.
All right. Well, then let me do it. All right.
Okay. Do it.
Your queen to be. How you like that?
It was fantastic. It was beautiful. It's marvelous.
I'm not going through all the lyrics because I don't want this game to monetize. But
I know the whole lyric. I know the
I'm telling
lyrics,
you,
but
when you need a man to hit high pitch, you get yourself a fat guy. All right,
you get Paul Bates. Paul Bates, by the way, who's the only character from the movie to reprise his role for the ill-fated TV show.
And not only that, ladies and gentlemen,
TV show.
There was a TV show and it did not do well. It actually did worse than Coming to America too.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it's centered around like I guess like the brother or something. Yeah, but Paul Bates was the only one to come back because he's like, all right, check. We're also going to do a movie in a little bit that is a classic from the July 4th weekend that also had its own ill-fated spinoff. That'll be coming up shortly. So, but yeah, Coming to America, he gives a C. I can't. I love this movie. It is in my arguably top 4 favorite comedies of all time.
Oh,
who gave it a C?
Mr. Manning.
He don't let him vote again.
Don't let him vote unless he agrees with you.
Choose first.
Okay, this is the.
Hello.
We have to be quiet because he's at work.
All right.
So,
all right. So here's the thing: Coming to America is not an Independence Day or July 4th movie, as you can tell by the background and the winter wardrobe. Is it an awesome movie? Yes.
Plus, I would also say it doesn't exactly put America in the best light.
No. All right, I'm back, guys. I'm back. So, we all due respect, this is a cult classic at its best. Right. This is a film that people always talk about. It's the original. It's something that you can watch over and over again and not get sick and tired of it because it's that darn funny and phenomenal and amazing. And if I had to rate this film, it's getting an S tier. Sorry.
I can't not factor in the July 4th part. I have to give it an A. Yeah, listen. It is amongst my favorite comedies of all time, but it's not a July 4th movie, and I think that hurts it, especially with the winter style of it.
See, here's the thing: if you had talked about movies for like Valentine's Day, then I would see this being a contender because
romantic
it has the winter aesthetic, it has the romance, and certainly with the comedy that plays into it. I mean, I'm not saying you necessarily need to go to McDonald's and have dinner while you watch this movie, but it kind of does play into it. As far as a 4th of July blockbuster, I think I do also kind of have to agree with Rob and give it a C. Look, like I said, this movie does not exactly paint America in the best light. I would say, as far as
that
jokes,
was the whole point.
Definitely have some memorable jokes, but I would say more of the memorable jokes happen around Eddie Murphy rather than come from Eddie Murphy. You know, Whack Arnold, everything in Zamunda. Arsenio's Hall characters alone is funnier in this movie than say even the characters they portray when they put on the old Jewish makeup. You want to talk about Jewish stereotypes? This guy doing Jewish stereotypes in the barbershop. Come on.
Saul.
The barbershop is probably the funniest thing about the whole movie.
Oh, so the barbershop is fantastic.
Yes. So that being said, it's just not a movie I could see myself watching at this time of the year.
See, I had it on literally the other day. But again, it's not a July 4th movie. And it's not a Black Year.
Damn.
Listen, I'm willing to go.
I'm siding with Rob on this one.
I'm willing to go B. You guys got 2 C's. Day, what's your thought?
He said S.
Kind of B.
I'm gonna have to drop it to an A.
All right. I think the consensus all the way through ends up putting it as a B, right?
Unless Kyle wants to come in with the tiebreaker.
All right. Let me throw it in. Let me give it some B-ness first now.
All right.
So we'll do B first on that. That's
So, yeah,
what
that's pretty much the humor is the only reason I didn't drop it to a D. So
he's doing his best Fonzie impression here, by the way, or Canadian, which also applies because one of the other
we can't have just all A's. Thank God.
B it is.
All right.
All right. So interesting one in this particular case. This was supposed to be the sequel to The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, as I previously mentioned. This, of course, is Big Trouble in Little China, which was a fun movie in its own right, but it was not Buckaroo Banzai against the World Crime League, which they eventually did in comic book form later. Still a fun movie. Kurt Russell's it all the way through. But
also James Hong is the villain, right?
Yes.
Yeah, classic.
And Kim Cattrall before anybody knew who she was. Kim Cattrall before she betrayed Captain Kirk.
Well, hold on. Was this Kim Cattrall before Mannequin or after Mannequin?
I thought Mannequin might have been 84.
Yeah. So I think it's after Mannequin.
This would have been 85 or 86.
Right. No, I think Mannequin's really what put her on the map. Unless you're one of those ones that loves her being the Hound in Porky's.
No.
Which, if you don't know.
Yeah, well, Porky, yeah. We have had conversations.
Rob don't know about Porky's, but Rob should watch Porky's.
Well, he should watch Big Trouble in Little China. It's about a trucker who just wants his truck back.
Right. And that's the thing. Again, this kind of more ties in kind of like Terminator 2 in my mind, because it's a great action movie. I would say definitely more, more humor than you would probably expect. But again, all the Chinese aesthetic, the lore, the costuming, the spooky powers, the thing with all the eyeballs. I don't know if it's necessarily a 4th of July movie for me. But I would put it at like a B. It's just a good, fun action. There's really nothing you can say about it, unless you are one of those ones that say, because of the Chinese stereotypes that they're doing, that's a deficit to it. And yeah, that guy that ends up blowing up himself. Probably one of the best deaths.
I mean, I'm willing to go A here.
Okay. We have to set a ground level as to what counts as A. A has to be better than ever.
We don't know. I mean, listen, okay, I don't know. The movie has some near and dear to my heart because, again, it was Kurt Russell in like his early days, prior to really getting on the map. He had some other stuff at this point. He gave some really bad advice to a guy who Rob Manning once interviewed.
Right, but I mean, this isn't exactly like Kurt Russell's introductory into stardom. I mean, he was doing Disney films before this. This might have been his introduction
one of the ones
as an action star. Fine. Before he went ahead and did stuff like Stargate and stuff like this, he was doing this movie.
Or Fast and the Furious.
Or Fast and Furious.
Or Guardians of the Galaxy, too.
Yeah. So, I mean, his foray into being an action star, fine, but again, it's a B. It's a B. It's pretty much a good average actioner. Yeah. Dave, what do you think? Or Rob or Kyle, anybody?
Well, Rob said he never saw it, so that kills that.
Okay.
And Dave might actually be working right now. So for the moment, I've got it set up as a B. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. Kyle, obviously, we'll want to hear what you have to say then.
But all right, so we got 2 more movies at this point. One of which, as I had mentioned in this case, apologies, actually, the picture's reversed.
Ooh.
But yeah, A League of Their Own was a July 4th movie back in 1992. It did spawn a TV sequel that again went absolutely nowhere, and then the Amazon sequel, which actually did pretty well, not or spinoff, but I'm talking an actual like TV series back, trying to capitalize on it. B for BTLC.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the standard.
Yeah. So we're in agreement. Now this could be argued as a patriotic movie because baseball is Americana.
Oh yeah.
Especially 1940s baseball. Fun
I'm back,
fact,
guys.
It's the inception of the women's baseball league. I mean,
I'm back.
okay.
Nice.
All right, so do y'all want me to go back to the other film?
You want to go back to Big Trouble Little China?
Yeah,
All right.
I'm going to
All right,
agree
so
with y'all. It's a B.
I think everybody's got it as a B except Rob, who never saw it, so he's going to say B in this case.
Right.
All right, so we're in agreement. Now, fun fact about this movie: Lori Petty had to audition 8 times to get the role of Gina Davis's sister. Gina Davis had to show up in Penny Marshall's backyard, and they played catch. And she's like, "All right, you got the role."
Yeah, no, I remember that because she told it to me when I was going to interview her before Gary freaking Busey got in the way. But
Actually, fun fact: do you know who was also supposed to play Jimmy Dugan before Tom Hanks? You could see it work.
Gary freaking Busey.
No, it was not
yeah,
Gary.
no.
No,
My story about Gary Busey is well documented, and obviously Lori Petty was there at the time. He witnessed everything that we did.
He has a famous SNL brother.
Belushi?
Yes.
Yep.
Jim
Yeah,
Belushi. Jim Belushi was actually very close to becoming Jimmy Dugan, and I think it
Oh
kind
God,
of
no.
no. I think it could kind of work. I mean, a little more alcoholic, a little more comedic, but I think the personality would be there.
Right, but that's the thing. Part of what makes Jimmy Dugan's character so great is because you can see the pain and pathos on a face like Tom Hanks's with the alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then
they would say.
however he reacts to it is based off of the alcoholism.
So I'm going to shred this.
Belushi in general just looks like a drunk. More so than his brother ever looked like he was on drugs or anything.
Don't shred it?
So
Oh.
it would have paled in comparison. Plus, Tom Hanks as that like Jimmy Dugan baseballist character, his face, his visage and everything, it just spoke like, Mantle or DiMaggio, anyone of that kind. He looks like your typical baseball player from back then. Belushi looks like somebody that would have been in like Major League 2.
Bad News Bears 2 starring William Devane.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Now, I figure I'll throw a couple more tidbits into this just for funsies. The Dottie character that Gina Davis played was actually based on a woman named Dottie Kamenchek, who played a long career in the women's league.
Right.
I mean, her numbers were frankly obscene. Batting over 300 many, many times on there. She barely ever struck out despite all the at-bats she had. And honestly, she had an absolute Hall of Fame career. Nobody remembers Dottie Kamenchek, but they remember Dottie from League of Their Own.
Right. And unfortunately, I think just because from a storytelling narrative, you really couldn't go season after season after season with these characters.
Yeah.
So you just had the inaugural season where she goes ahead, takes off, gets married to Bill Pullman.
And Bill Pullman with a limp.
I would say probably Kit fills in the career standing.
And that's where the idea is that basically she's ready to come out from underneath her sister's shadow.
Right.
Yeah.
And mind you, that was awesome. I mean, how many movies can you say that Madonna is good in? How many movies can you say Rosie O'Donnell is good in? It's like everyone had their archetype because obviously they were just from all over America.
How many movies that you could say Madonna was good at? I would say 2. This one and Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy. It's the only movie she ever really did, though.
Yeah, no, you're not saying Body of Evidence or pretty much anything else. Truth or Dare, I guess, would also count, but still. I mean, the casting in this movie is just supreme. The fact that, it is baseball, it's Americana, it's during wartime. This is an S.
Yeah, I can go with that.
Especially since we are in baseball season now. It's like, it just flies in with everything else that's going on with this time of year.
Yeah, I mean, July has always been, a baseball heavy era, especially now with the All-Star game coming up. I mean, obviously Aaron Judge and everything's going on there, but that's right. Yeah. Rosie O'Donnell, fun fact about League of Their Own also, Penny Marshall was intimidated by Madonna, and so was the rest of the cast, obviously, because Madonna was, friggin' Madonna. So because she was so tight to Rosie O'Donnell, they were referred to as Ro and Mo. And it made it a lot easier for like the cast to work with them, knowing that it wasn't Madonna, it was just Mo.
Right.
And I think that
I mean, obviously that goes ahead and like makes her a little bit more integrated with the rest of the cast rather than feeling like, oh, this is the Madonna movie and plus it has baseball.
Yeah. But yeah, I can go S tier on this one. I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
All right. We have one more movie.
Not to mention, again, if you're talking about movies with like quotable lines and everything, some of the scenes in this movie are classic. Gina Davis with doing the split and catching the ball, the fly ball. Classic. No, but there's no crying in baseball. Oh, and Stu Angel with the whole "you're gonna lose, you're gonna lose." Then he just takes the mitt, throws it at him, and knocks him over. It's like, Oh. Love this movie.
So we got a plus on this. We got one more movie from the era of when basically everybody adored everything he did. Everything was gold, and everything was top notch. 2000s, The Patriot. This was Rob Manning's suggestion on it. It's a good call because it's literally when it comes to patriotism and July 4th movies, it's literally in the title.
Okay, you know how I said, how you said that there probably wasn't going to be anything in D.
Ooh,
this one I'm putting in D.
I think people are going to have words here, not so much for the B+ on that one, but for the S tier on this side.
No. This is definitely T because you know what this is? This is an American knockoff of Braveheart. That's all it is. That's all people see it as.
I can say it, but when it centers around the Revolutionary War and patriotism, by your own definition, this is a July 4th movie.
Yes, but it's also a July 4th movie that plays more into like Mel Gibson's sensitivities, which this was like. There's just some issues with the storytelling in this movie, especially when it came to like Heath Ledger as the son being killed and all that sort of stuff. Like, to be honest, what scenes do you remember from this movie? First of all, let's take the Apollo 13 approach. What is memorable about this movie other than Heath Slater being killed?
Mel Gibson running with long hair.
He does that in half his movies.
You know what? I can argue a B on something like this because the patriotism. To be honest, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie, though, to be fair. But again, I don't usually do war movies typically, so it doesn't really fly to me.
Rob, when don't we have issues? All right. No, to be fair, there are better movies that have come out around this time of year that are more patriotic. Like we just saw, we have our S tiers in the fact that we have something like, A League of Their Own, which speaks to classic Americana sports. We have Independence Day, which is a movie that brings all of America together to fight a common threat. The whole world really to fight a common threat. This, just because it's taking place during the Revolutionary War, does not make it a viable choice. Just because it has Patriot in the name. This is essentially like just flag waving for the sake of flag waving. You could do the same thing with Team America World Police.
Damn.
When did that come out, I wonder?
Damn, son.
Don't damn me about this. It's true.
No, I'm agreeing with you, but it's kind of hard.
Team America is October.
Oh, really? Wow.
Ryan, you didn't attack Rosie, right?
Rosie? No, I got nothing against Rosie.
I don't remember you doing.
She hasn't been in many great movies.
Rob,
but
to be fair, I don't think that happened because I know it was talking.
If you want me to attack Rosie O'Donnell, I'll attack her in like something like Exit to Eden or something like that when she had to play on a hedonistic dominatrix island. That's like I don't want to see Rosie O'Donnell
or like the talk show or the View or anything like that. But no,
nobody wants to see Rosie O'Donnell clad in leather.
So
yeah,
bad enough I had to see Dan Aykroyd in that movie clad in leather. I don't want to see it.
Damn.
So Patriot, I'm going B. Kyle's going B. Rob's going beyond S. S plus 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 plus. Ryan's going D. Jay, you're gonna have to break this one.
Damn, son.
Come on, Davion. Really think about it.
I am.
We'll talk
That's what
about
I'm saying.
I might have missed that. I'll have to look. So.
That's what I'm saying. Dang, son. I'm gonna be a tweener and say C.
All right. Yeah, but I was gonna put you right on the spot on this one. Really focusing on that.
Yeah, put him on the spot when it's just his picture.
You're gonna be a tween.
C.
All right. So to be's or not to be. So.
Yeah, it'll be a B.
First, look, if he's C, I'd say he's closer to D than he is.
Ooh.
Damn, son.
I'm calling that.
You know what? It's gonna stack it a little more, but to be fair, I have to go B on this one. Granted, we only have one. You only have one C on this, and I understand that part of it. But
And I did use the argument for C for this movie because all you can tell me is Mel Gibson in a ponytail.
But like I said, but again, like I said, it's not my motif as a movie. Again, I don't watch war movies; it's just my thing. So, but I mean, by the very thing that you said hurt Terminator 2 helps this.
If I could buy into it, sure. But again, like I said, this is flag waving for the sake of flag waving. Even if it does have that patriotic stance and everything, it doesn't add anything. It doesn't make me feel more patriotic. It just makes me feel like, okay, we don't like red coats. Like,
damn, son.
You're bringing British. So
I'm a British. Yes, I'm an English.
Let's go B. Rob's even like, come on, give it a B. He's like, he's playing high, but he's like, he's willing to haggle on it. If he's willing to haggle, you got to be willing to haggle.
Dang, son. Damn, son.
All right, we got one more thing.
But that's Rob's edition. So I mean, is there any movie that anybody else could go ahead and say they would want to add into this?
Not that I know of.
We got to wrap this up pretty soon anyway. So.
All right.
I gotta go to the post office and get ready for City Field tonight.
So really, I blame Rob on this.
I really got to talk about
other movies that you could watch. No, I'm sure there's definitely some other movies that you could watch for 4th of July weekend that probably didn't come out around 4th of July, but
I'm really supposed to be talking.
Well, no.
I really want to.
You've got things like Yankee Doodle Dandy. You got things like Zero Dark 30, but though you don't watch horror movies. Top Gun Maverick. Team America World Police, Saving Private Ryan, The Right Stuff, Rocky, Patton. If you want to talk about patriotism, National Treasure. There's a lot of movies that you can certainly watch if you want to have that American feel, without necessarily going with the ones that came out around 4th of July. But
fair. There's a lot of options here, but I mean, at this point, we're already 75 minutes in, and we only went through 8-9 movies.
Yeah, no, obviously we're not going through more,
but
it's one of those things where there's our options outside of these folks. Just go ahead and do your due diligence. Go on IMDb, go on Box Office Mojo, find what you want. Ultimately, you'll be drunk and having a few burgers anyway, so just whatever's comfortable.
Jay, you had one more thing. I think we can hold off on the Superman stuff. I think for the moment, just for time constraints. But Jay, I know you're anxious to talk North to Shore.
Yes. So far, the experience at North to Shore, which is a New Jersey-based art, music, film festival that is similar to the South by Southwest. All right, as a person not inside the behind-the-scenes aspect, it was a great experience. Like the performances, the music, it was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you talking strictly based on Newark? Because obviously we
Yeah,
interacted with
I'm
stuff
talking.
last year.
Yeah, I'm talking about Norton.
Okay.
Um, I would say I was there for the Matchbox 20. I was there for Kevin Hart and Kevin Smith. Matchbox 20 was phenomenal. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I thought that was going to be my hiccup, and I have to give it up to them. They performed phenomenal.
Mhm.
No,
Matchbox
Rob Thomas
20,
is a man.
yes, he performed phenomenal. I really enjoyed the music. Kevin Smith, phenomenal.
Mhm.
Great storyteller. Now I know why he's the Jersey son of Jersey, the Jersey boy of Jersey. I'm just a little upset that I couldn't get an interview with him, but
Mhm.
that wasn't his fault. I felt as though that will become like afterwards.
Mhm.
Kevin Hart. This one, I really have to say, everybody knows how I feel about Kevin Hart. And actually going to my first Kevin Hart performance, he actually lived up to what I was saying. He wasn't that funny.
Mhm.
His openings were funnier than him.
Who were his
His
openers?
openings had, I forgot their names, but God knows some of the stuff that they were saying had me on a roll. Like
Mhm.
I
I
bet
was
you at least two of
done.
them were Plastic Cup Boys. But,
Yeah, they were Plastic Cup Boys from
okay.
Hillside.
Mhm.
They were hilarious, especially with the one when they were cracking jokes about the Jerry, yeah, you know what you call it, the old guys from the elections that's running for president. I was cracking up. Um, and some other things that I'm not going to talk on the show because it was kind of triple X. So,
Okay,
but
let me
Kevin
explain.
Hart, okay, you can explain.
No, I was doing the Kevin Hart thing. It's like the, the way Jay Farrow always does the imitation of Kevin Hart. He always does like, all right, let me explain. Here's the thing. Now, just like that kind of like loosey goosey sort of feel.
Hmm. So Kevin Hart sucked. I'm sorry. I would say he was mediocre at best, and the people that was just laughing at his jokes, was there to laugh at it? He wasn't that funny. Um, I was kind of disappointed. The only thing that I would say that he picked up at the very end of the conversation, I mean, at the end of the comedy act, but it was like, where was that energy?
Mhm.
The energy
Uh,
was not there
Probably
in the
wasted all
beginning.
during Tom Brady roast. That was probably it.
He burned
No, it was
himself out
all
on Chance credit card commercials.
Yeah.
it was all family jokes, and
Mhm.
the only one that was funny was the one about his uncle.
Mhm.
And I was,
Oh, anyway.
and all I have to say is I was very disappointed with this performance. I was not funny. I felt like it was a disservice, not just to Jersey, but to his fan base, and people had to fake laugh. It was
Mhm.
pathetic.
I've been to events like that. Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, to be
Uh,
fair, you're taking a Philly guy and using him for a Jersey show. There is going to be some sort of disconnect.
No, it wasn't really a disconnect. Your whole job is to make people laugh, and you failed at that.
Dale.
And
Oh, man.
it was
Okay, you
mediocre at
know what?
best.
Not to get Davion for Christmas. No Kevin Hart material.
Mhm.
No merch.
You know, I will
Well,
take Kevin Smith over Kevin Hart.
are you going to
Well,
get a
yeah.
Chase credit card though?
No,
Okay.
but here's the other side. Working the event or being at the event, I felt as though they overshadowed a lot of people that was part of the event, and it could have been extremely better
Mhm.
organized wise.
Well,
especially when you have one of the organizations that I'm a part of sponsoring or producing the event. You tell me you couldn't give out free tickets to the event?
oh, they're cheap as shit.
What?
Remember what happened last year? We had to pay for our own parking.
No, not Newark. It wasn't Newark. This is
Yeah,
like
Newark
Jersey itself.
But Newark is part of it.
Jersey's. Yeah.
So,
But this is Jersey, like Jersey was hosting this, and it's like, yo, like, what's up with that? I didn't agree with that. And I may get clout for this, but hey, it needs to be addressed. Like, I'm really, like, I understand this is was this their first? Yeah, this was their first North to Shore event. And I give it to y'all. I would say I would rate this pretty much like a B plus because Kevin Hart was the best thing to me. What else? The Maxbox 20 surprised the crap out of me because I didn't realize I was going to enjoy that performance as much as I did. But the Kevin Smith let me down big time.
I thought Kevin Hart let you down.
I mean Kevin Hart. I mean Kevin Hart. Yeah, I mean Kevin Hart. No, Kevin Smith was phenomenal, but Kevin Hart let me down.
Okay. Just so we're sure here.
Yeah, mixing her Kevin's.
Yeah. Well, it was Sunday of Kevin's.
You know, I mean, I don't want to say, okay, there's white Kevin and black Kevin, but, you know.
I'll be a dub.
It's okay. You can say that.
Yeah.
Well,
taller Kevin and shorter Kevin.
Well, no, average height Kevin and shorter Kevin.
Yeah. No, normal Kevin and midget Kevin.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. So I got to wrap this up because I got to get ready because I'm heading over to City Field shortly. So, where was the thing? There's the thing. There's the thing. So, all right, gentlemen. Anything else? Sorry, Dave. I apologize. I feel bad cutting you off a little bit, but I got to run.
No, it's okay. And I apologize because I'm at work and I didn't know y'all hear all that noise in the background.
How dare you earn money? You know, telling people basically be on our show and telling people to shred things. So
yeah, you should have been like me and worked before you got here.
Exactly. So
kick rocks.
Yeah, say happy.
That's probably all I got time left to do. So yeah,
happy 4th to you all because in Europe and Asia it's July 4th. In Japan they're celebrating American Independence Day as we speak. So
well, they're all celebrating July 4th. Everyone here, happy Independence Day.
Exactly. Yeah. So and whatever holidays it might be, like National like chocolate cream pie day. By the way, also need to mention real quick, I should mention this. The Nathan hot dog eating contest will be tomorrow. Also now with less Joey Chestnut because he got fired.
Oh wow! And where that's going to be at?
Coney Island. So give it up to my boy Matt Stoney, who's going to be doing. Kyle's going to be playing a little Final Fantasy 14 on his Twitch stream. So never played FF14.
I'm guessing at some point we probably will go ahead and do something on Jabronis United, especially considering this weekend there's NXT Heatwave as well as WWE's Money in the Bank. And it's because we haven't really talked in a while, so we'll be going live today in order to get predictions for everything.
Cool. So I'll let you guys roll on that. Your department, I will, like I said, I'll be sitting there in an air-conditioned press box, minding my own business, eating free food, and like watching young men in shorts run around.
Hey, that's how you want to celebrate your 4th. I'm not going to tell you not to.
Yeah.
Just,
but all right, gentlemen.
By a pool.
What's that?
Be cooler if it was by a pool.
That's true. But all right, gentlemen, I appreciate the time. Day, thanks for coming on. Hope we didn't get yourself in trouble on that one. So, but Ryan, I appreciate it.
Rob, thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Ryle. Rob, I'm sorry, Ryan, nice haircut. Doing it. Appreciated that one. So, all right, gentlemen, until next time, thank you for the time. Appreciate it. Stay awesome.